Something unusual is happening in the economy right now. Most people have not noticed it yet, but a small group already has. And the difference between those two groups is about to become enormous. For more than a century, the path to building a business looked predictable. You needed capital. You needed a team. You needed years of experience. You needed connections. And usually you needed permission. From institutions. From employers. From investors. From gatekeepers. That was the structure of the old economy. But quietly, a different structure has begun to emerge. And it is rewriting the rules of entrepreneurship. Not slowly, but all at once. Across the entire digital world. Here is the strange part. The people building businesses in this new structure often start alone. No office. No employees. No investors. Sometimes not even a formal background in the industry. Just one person. A laptop. And a set of AI tools. At first that sounds exaggerated. Almost like another internet myth. But look closer. Something structural has changed beneath the surface. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it. Because the rise of the AI-powered solo entrepreneur is not just a trend. It is the early stage of a new economic architecture. An architecture built around leverage. And in this system, the rules of scale are different. Completely different. Let us start with a simple observation. In the traditional economy, production required people. Many people. Designers. Writers. Analysts. Developers. Researchers. Each role required time and salary, which meant every new idea had friction. Every experiment had cost, and every failure had consequences. So experimentation stayed limited, slow, expensive, carefully controlled. That structure shaped how businesses were built. But AI changes the cost of production dramatically. It compresses the distance between idea and execution. Think about what that means for a single person. Imagine someone has an idea for a digital product. In the old system, they might need a team, a developer to build it, a designer to create assets, a writer to craft content, an analyst to research the market. Even a small project could cost $50,000, sometimes much more, which meant the idea often stayed an idea. But now imagine the same scenario with AI tools. Research can happen in minutes. Draft content appears in seconds. Visual assets generate instantly. Code prototypes emerge almost immediately. One person can move from concept to testable product incredibly fast. And speed changes everything. Because when the cost of trying something drops, the number of experiments explodes. And experimentation is where advantages begin. This is the first hidden shift. AI is not just a productivity tool. It is an experimentation accelerator. The faster someone experiments, the faster they learn what works, and the faster they discover real opportunities. But something else happens quietly at the same time. The learning compounds. Early experiments produce feedback. Feedback produces insight. Insight improves the next experiment. That next experiment produces better results. And suddenly a pattern appears. Skill is forming rapidly. Not from theory, but from repeated interaction with real markets. This is where the advantage begins to grow. Because time inside the system matters enormously. Consider two hypothetical creators. Alex begins experimenting with AI tools this year. Jordan decides to wait. Jordan wants more clarity first. Alex launches small digital experiments every month. Simple projects. A niche newsletter. A small digital product. A micro software tool. Most of them fail. But every experiment produces knowledge. Every experiment improves skill. Every experiment attracts a few new customers. After 12 months, Alex has run 20 experiments. Jordan finally decides to begin. But Alex now understands tools better. Alex understands audience behavior better. Alex understands distribution platforms better. The gap is already large. Now imagine 3 years passing. Alex has run perhaps 100 experiments. Jordan has run 20. That difference compounds quietly. Skill compounds. Audience compounds. Market insight compounds. This is the early acquisition advantage. And it is one of the most powerful forces in the new digital economy. Because AI tools reward early experimentation disproportionately. The earlier someone begins learning the system, the more insight they accumulate. But insight alone does not create businesses. Distribution does. And this is the second major shift. Digital platforms remove geographic limits. A product created by one person can reach the entire world instantly, without physical infrastructure, without international offices, without large marketing teams. Think about how unusual that is historically. For most of history, businesses grew locally, then regionally, then nationally. Global expansion required enormous capital. Now distribution infrastructure already exists. Online platforms handle delivery automatically. Payment systems handle transactions automatically. Discovery systems surface products to audiences. So the modern solo entrepreneur begins with something rare. Global reach from day one. Even a small digital product can scale widely. Once the asset exists, distribution costs almost nothing. That creates a strange economic dynamic. The cost of creation keeps falling, but the reach of distribution keeps expanding, which means small experiments can suddenly become large businesses, sometimes unexpectedly. Here is a simple illustration. Imagine someone builds a digital guide priced at $25. Creating it costs almost nothing because AI-assisted production. If only 100 people buy it, the revenue becomes $2,500. A small result, but still meaningful. But digital distribution allows much larger reach. If 10,000 people eventually buy it, the revenue becomes $250,000. The same asset. The same work. Just wider distribution. That is the power of scalable digital assets. And AI dramatically increases how quickly those assets can be created. Now consider something even more interesting. Not every experiment must succeed. In fact, most will not. But the economics still work. Imagine someone launches 10 small digital projects in a year. 9 produce almost nothing. But one project reaches an audience. Perhaps it earns $300,000 over time. The entire portfolio of experiments becomes profitable. Even though most attempts failed. That structure encourages relentless experimentation, which accelerates learning further. And learning leads to better ideas. Better ideas lead to stronger products. Stronger products attract larger audiences. Now the system begins reinforcing itself. This is how micro-entrepreneurship scales. Small projects evolve into digital assets. Digital assets generate recurring revenue. Revenue funds new experiments. Each cycle improves skill and visibility. But another subtle shift is happening underneath all of this. AI also changes the structure of knowledge itself. In the past, expertise required long study cycles. Years of reading. Years of training. Years of industry experience. That barrier protected established professionals. But AI compresses the time required to acquire usable knowledge. Information can be summarized instantly. Research can be accelerated dramatically. Complex topics become easier to explore. This does not replace deep understanding, but it speeds the path toward competence, which again lowers entry barriers. A motivated individual can now explore industries quickly, test ideas rapidly, and refine strategies using real market signals. The result is something new. Entrepreneurship becomes a learning process rather than a credential process. Credentials mattered in the old system because knowledge was scarce. Now information flows everywhere. Execution becomes the true differentiator. Execution and experimentation. And this is where another realization appears. The winners in this new environment are rarely the most experienced people. Often they are simply the earliest experimenters. People who start interacting with tools before everyone else. People willing to try many small ideas quickly. People comfortable learning through feedback instead of certainty. This is the psychology of the AI-powered solo entrepreneur. Curiosity replaces permission. Experiment replaces planning. Iteration replaces perfection. But there is also a deeper mechanism unfolding. One that most observers still underestimate. Because the real advantage is not a single successful project. The real advantage is accumulation. Every experiment leaves behind something useful. A piece of software. A digital product. A content library. An audience segment. A distribution channel. Over time, these pieces connect. They form an ecosystem of assets. Each asset amplifies the others. For example, imagine someone creates educational content about a niche topic. Over time, the audience grows to 50,000 people. Then the creator launches a small digital course priced at $99. If only 2,000 people buy the course, the revenue becomes $198,000. But the same audience can support additional assets. A digital tool. A subscription community. A specialized report. Each new asset builds on the same foundation. Now the creator owns a digital ecosystem. all created by a small team, sometimes by a single person. This is the architecture of modern micro-entrepreneurship. Small experiments leading to scalable digital assets. Assets connected by shared audiences. And AI acting as the productivity engine behind everything. But no system is perfect. Every structure carries risks. And ignoring those risks would be a mistake. First, there is platform dependency. Most digital distribution happens through external platforms. Search engines, content networks, online marketplaces. Those platforms control visibility, which means algorithms can influence outcomes. Successful entrepreneurs must adapt constantly. Second, there is competition. Lower barriers invite more participants, which means markets can become crowded quickly. Products that once stood out may face many alternatives. Differentiation becomes essential. And third, there is technological change itself. AI tools evolve rapidly. Skills that work today may require adaptation tomorrow. Continuous learning becomes mandatory. But interestingly, these risks reinforce the same strategy. Experiment frequently. Adapt quickly. Build multiple digital assets. Never rely on a single platform or product. In other words, treat entrepreneurship as an evolving system, not a single project. And this perspective changes how success appears. Because the early stage rarely looks impressive. Many projects remain small. Many experiments produce modest results. But the accumulation continues quietly. Skill grows. Audience grows. Insight grows. Eventually, something different happens. The compounding becomes visible. A project suddenly gains traction. A digital product begins selling consistently. A content channel reaches large audiences. What looked like overnight success is actually accumulated experimentation. Years of learning condensed into a visible breakthrough. This pattern appears repeatedly across the digital economy. Early experimenters gain disproportionate advantages later. Not because they started with more resources, but because they started earlier. And time inside the system multiplies everything. Which leads to one final realization. The rise of the AI-powered solo entrepreneur is not really about technology. Technology simply removes friction. The real transformation is structural. Production capacity becomes decentralized. Knowledge acquisition becomes accelerated. distribution becomes global, and experimentation becomes inexpensive. Combine those four forces and something new emerges. Individuals can now create value at scales previously reserved for organizations. Sometimes even large organizations. And the people who recognize the shift early gain something powerful. Not just tools, but perspective. They see opportunities where others see uncertainty. They begin experimenting while others wait for clarity. They accumulate insight while others debate the future. And eventually that difference becomes enormous. Because the new economy rewards learning speed more than initial resources. It rewards curiosity more than credentials. And it rewards experimentation more than perfect planning. The rise of the AI-powered solo entrepreneur is simply the first visible sign. A signal that the structure of entrepreneurship is changing. Quietly, rapidly, and perhaps permanently. If this perspective sparked a new way of thinking for you, pause for a moment and consider your position inside this shift. Not tomorrow, not next year, but today. Because in systems driven by compounding experimentation, the most important advantage is often the simplest one: starting earlier than everyone else.